Hey folks, Tito here with your Black and Gold Daily Blitz. I'm Tito, Jeff Thitoff. Follow me on Twitter @ThitHappens. Go to fanstreamsports.com. Great site, newly updated. All the things, all the great new program we've got. Go check it out. Again, fanstreamsports.com. You get all of our latest content. We're adding new shows all the time. So thanks for tuning in today. Steelers coming off the 34-12 win over Cincinnati on Sunday. And it was an interesting win. A nice win for the Steelers. Let's talk first, I guess. Let's do this. Jamar Chase's one-game suspension for spitting on Jaylen Ramsey from Pittsburgh. That's been upheld. Jamar Chase has to miss a game now. Doesn't really matter. The Bengals are out of it anyway, but nonetheless, Jaylen Ramsey at least gets some justification on that, on his behavior, his reaction to it after we found Jamar Chase has, in fact, spat on him, which is stupid. Jamar Chase did appeal it, but it was heard by Jordy Nelson, the former wide receiver for Green Bay, former Rodgers teammate. And anyway, it was upheld. So Jamar Chase not playing this week for Cincinnati. He loses like $500,000 because of his game check, and also then he's got a roster bonus. So Jamar Chase out for this week's game. All right, now let's get on to the Steelers game against Cincinnati. A weird game in the fact that I don't think Pittsburgh's offense played their A game. They played okay, didn't play great. But they got a couple of defensive touchdowns. They frustrated Cincinnati, and that certainly helped out. The Steelers' defense this year has been such a conundrum. There's been times they played really, really well. They forced get a couple of scores defensively against Cincinnati, forced all those turnovers against a couple of damn good teams with the Patriots and the Colts. Also gave up 32 points to the Jets in the season opener. Also allowed the Bengals to score a ton of points on them. There's been some bad games. The way they played Green Bay in the second half in that Sunday night game. There's been some bad looks for this highly heralded, highly paid Steelers defense. And I like what Aaron Rodgers has brought to the table this year. I like what DK Metcalf brought. I like where the running game's at. Offensive line is still inconsistent, but this team is going to live or die by that defense. That's what it's going to be. If this defense plays well, Pittsburgh's going to win the games. If they don't play well, they're in a lot of trouble, because I don't think this offense can carry this team through a postseason run. Steelers now sitting there at 6-4, a one-game lead over Baltimore. Again, who cares about Cincinnati and Cleveland? Baltimore got their win this week against Cleveland with the Shedeur Sanders played at the end of that game. We'll talk about that on the Jeff Thitoff show coming up later. But nonetheless, so the Steelers are 6-4. Ravens are 5-5. Aaron Rodgers, by the way, left the game against Cincinnati with a fracture in his wrist, a hairline fracture, it sounds like, in his non-throwing wrist. Before he left the game, he was 9-15 for 116 yards and a touchdown. Mason Rudolph came on, went 12 for 16, 127 and a touchdown. The offense did not miss a beat when Mason Rudolph came in. I don't want to read too much into that. I still want Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback down the stretch. Now, Rodgers this week, the Steelers. Steelers play the Bears this week on the road. Rodgers is going to try to play. He's avoiding surgery. He's going to try to play in this game. He wants to play. A couple reasons. One, because it's Aaron Rodgers. Two, because it's the Chicago Bears, and he's always made the comments before about him being I don't know if he's made the comments or just the jokes out there about him being the Bears' father, their Bears' daddy, I should say. So Rudolph played fine, going 12 for 16, like I said, the one touchdown pass. The running game, Jaylen Warren led the way, 10 carries, 62 yards. Kenneth Gainwell played great again. He had 9 carries, 24 yards, also led the team in receptions, 7 for 81 on 8 targets, scored a couple of touchdowns there. So not sure if Rodgers is going to play or not. We'll see. And again, I don't think it matters that much. If the defense plays the way the defense can play, doesn't matter if it's Rudolph or Rodgers. Where the difference comes in is if the defense has a bad game. Then I think you'd much rather have Aaron Rodgers out there. Let's look where we're at right now in the AFC North. The Steelers games the rest of the season. What I want you to know, I'm saying these games, I want you to think in your mind, is it a win? Is it a loss? Or I don't know. At Chicago, I'll say that one on my end, I don't know. Host Buffalo, I don't know. At Baltimore, I think that's a loss. Host Miami, that's a win. At Detroit, probably a loss. At Cleveland, should be a win. Host Baltimore should be a win. That might be 3 in there is all we're getting. So now you're looking at a 9-8 season if that happens. Meanwhile, Baltimore, host the Jets, win. Host the Bengals, win. Host the Steelers, should be a win. At the Bengals, should be a win. Hosts the Patriots, not sure. At the Packers, not sure. At the Steelers, not sure. So the Ravens may have 4 wins in there already as well. You could be looking at a couple of 9-8 teams, maybe 10-7, depending on the swing. But it's going to be a battle down the stretch in this AFC North. The key for the Steelers is always going to be that defense, because I think they will find a way to run the ball effectively for the most part. I'm getting more and more confidence in Kenneth Gainwell. Jaylen Warren, I still always liked him, but Kenneth Gainwell is starting to show me that he can be a reliable third down back, reliable change of pace back. I liked what I've seen from him this year a lot more than I thought I would. I did not think I would like Kenneth Gainwell that much this year. He's proven me wrong. But as we go through this stretch now, in this game against the Bears, like if you look at the Steelers schedule, it's like every week is, it's like damn near a must win. They need to get a win in Chicago this week. I think once the Ravens pass them, if the Ravens can pass them or tie them before they play in Baltimore coming up on December 7th, it's a 1 o'clock game. They'll flex that game. But anyway, it's going to be hard to bounce back from that. The 2 games at Baltimore will likely decide it, but the Steelers need to steal a win either against Buffalo or at Detroit. They've got to steal one of those 2. The Buffalo game being in Pittsburgh certainly helps out. At Detroit won't be as easy. But the Steelers, though, is this where you thought they'd be at this point in the season? If I would have told you the Steelers would be sitting on 6-4 with a lead, if I said they'd be ahead this point in the season in the AFC North, I think you would have been surprised by that in the preseason, just because we know what Baltimore had coming back and what a healthy Bengals team was like. Although I said all along, if both the Bengals and Steelers stayed healthy, I thought the Steelers would finish ahead of them. I did expect Baltimore to win the division, which they still could. But as we're watching these games now, if you look at it, the game at Chicago is so damn important. And really, we'll say that probably every week going forward. Next week, it'll be the game hosting Buffalo. That will probably be damn important. Then you get into the Baltimore thing. And these next 3 games could end up deciding the fate of the 2025-2026 Pittsburgh Steelers. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll watch, obviously, the injury news on Aaron Rodgers. I'll update you on that as soon as I hear news about his status. I think he's going to play. I'd be surprised at this point if he didn't play on Sunday. But we will find out more about that as the week goes on. Like I say, Mason Rudolph was not terrible, but if you say someone's not terrible, is that really a compliment? But we'll talk again soon. This has been the Black and Gold Daily Blitz. I'm Tito, Jeff Thitoff. Follow me on Twitter @ThitHappens. Let's hope the Steelers are going to win this week in Chicago. We'll talk again when we get more news on Aaron Rodgers' status. FanStreetSports.com, folks. Go check it out.